I hit the button. Let's see here.
Bro. So we had I found out on Tuesday after I got back to work, obviously. The Saturday was slow and every single computer in the shop had the stream going on it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dude. He's like, "Yeah, we had like 6 computers out here with with the stream going." I'm like, "That's how my boss
Nice.
found out." He's like, "Yeah, so if you had 6 views, that was all of us." I was like, "Thanks, man. Thanks for assuming I only had 6."
That's so kind. So kind.
But yeah, a couple of the guys that actually play the game were like, "Dude, I don't know how you guys even play in there. That's ridiculous." I was like, "You just got to do it, man. Like, you just die a lot."
You just die. That's it, really.
Yeah, you just try to get good at not dying. That's all you can do.
Wasn't even the dying part that got us. Sad part.
Yep. It was a timer. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we're live. We're good.
Word.
I had 23 views on my 21 hour and 55-minute stream.
That's more than 1 hour, man.
Moving on up.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't understand how the only time I cough is whenever it's Thursday night podcast time
Yeah.
or like streaming. Like that's the only time I cough.
Mm-hmm.
I go
Yeah.
days without it. Not a single cough.
Just got a little tickle in there, Ryan. Gotta drink some water. Get some liquid in there.
Drink some water.
Maybe some bourbon.
Some water. I used to have a lady from Philly that was my boss for like 9 or 10 months.
Water.
And she would, yeah, water.
Water.
Get you some water.
Water.
It's like, what are you saying to me?
Okay, I want to do the quick math on this for how long that is. That's hours, right?
But
So 4,223,843 divided by 24. That's 175,000 days. By 7. How many weeks are there in a year? 52?
Yep.
52.
That's 483.5 years of game time.
Well, we were responsible for a week of it.
Damn. We also broke the big 1 billion for enemies defeated.
Yeah. All that for nothing.
Yeah, man, I'm pretty disappointed about it, to be real honest. All right, we ready to get started?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, clicking the button now. We are live for episode 51 of the Conqueror's Corner podcast. Today is Thursday, March the 10th, and I am a worthless, not Ryan Fox, here with my fire team, Jared.
I told you 2 truths and 2 lies last week. So you knew what was coming.
And the Chronicler himself, Chato Cero.
I think I'm the happiest one here because of all the lore that came out of that, regardless of the outcome.
I keep trying to tell myself it's the journey, not the destination, but that's a lie. So make sure if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services. Make sure you click the bell, like, subscribe, all that other stuff, yada yada yada. Turn on notifications. Follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Send us Bungie friend requests. We got Hippie bringing the TWAB this week real late. I want to say it was like 7:35 my time whenever that TWAB released. But you'll hear more about that later. For now, we're going to listen to the intro music from our boy Link, who you can find on Twitter at LinkOfTimeG.
All right, guys. Episode 51. We've been doing this for a year now. We have a hidden episode that only the original listeners heard, and it can no longer be found on the platforms. So, congrats to you all for making it a year, and congrats to us for sticking together for this long.
Right.
All right.
Episode 0, baby. That's going to be whenever we get this Patreon started in a couple years. That's going to be the perk.
All right. As Fox mentioned, Hippie brought us the TWAB this week. She touched on 3 like major topics, which is like the raid, trials, and Iron Banner. 3 things that this community does tune in for, and I'm always interested to hear about any updates that come along with those. So first of all, the thing that happened this last weekend was the Vow of this Disciple raid went live, along with the raid race. And the race kicked off with a few hiccups, as in there was some, was it anteater errors? It was the
Yep, anteater.
Yeah, happened to us our first run into there, kicked people to orbit. So they extended the 24-hour contest mode to 48 hours. And so a little bit of Destiny drama into that part. But before we get to the drama part, let's just talk about a few of the numbers. So they had a little more than 500,000 players jump into the raid. And a little more than 250,000 got past the first encounter. 130,000 got past the caretaker. 80,000 got past the exhibition, and then to the end of 32,621 unique players cleared the full raid. There was over 1 billion enemy defeats. There was over 70 million Guardian deaths, and there was over 4 million hours spent during contest mode. I know we was in there for 17 hours straight until I couldn't take it anymore and quit.
As soon as we got to the final boss, I don't even think we put an attempt in yet.
Yep.
Jared's like, I'm done. Can't do it.
Yep.
I mean, he was done with it for a while before then. It was so much time spent in that third encounter. He's like, I have to finish this and then I'm out. And then I'm out right after that. Which is like, yeah, I 100% get it.
I get it.
Yeah, I have a limit, and I pushed past it to get that acquisition done, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So, we fell short of the boss, and, well, my run anyways. And then you all continued on, and you tried to get the boss done.
Yeah, we got within a sneeze, a tickle and a sneeze from final stand. So we didn't get him there, but we got it was a pixel of health left before he got into final stand, and I think I had plenty of heavy left. So had we gotten there, and I had 2 bricks in the zone, so I would have been able to pick him up and keep it going. And man, I was ready to be in there, but we just didn't.
Let's be honest, Chad. Let's not sell ourselves short. God's honest truth. We had it beat. We had a guy die right at the end of that third damage phase, about halfway through it. Unfortunately, our brains were so destroyed that none of us had on high energy fire to give us that 20% damage boost. So if we just would have taken, like, hey, let's stop, let's talk this out, we would have got there. But the issue is that our brains were just shattered. They were just beaten, exhaustion had kicked in, so we didn't do it. But next day one raid race, we'll be ready for that. So we decided after every 8 to 10 wipes in the future, we stop and talk about why we're wiping and what we need to do differently instead of just trudging on, which is what we did in that third encounter. And that's what hurt us real bad, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely a stop and regroup kind of thing, and we're gonna have to be much more critical on mod talk for sure, because we did talk about it before the raid started, and I put a lot of hope and dreams into everybody else and thought everybody was listening. I had my mod setups, and I was hoping everybody else did the same. But sometimes it just doesn't happen, which is 20 plus hours in, it can happen. But with breaks here and there and more communication in between when you're not active, can definitely help pull teams back together, and that's something we just didn't do.
The thing that makes it hard is this year we actually had the DPS to do it. We just weren't able to execute. Very rarely did we die from ads, like just the trash mobs. If we died, it was because we messed up a mechanic, we didn't pass a buff correctly. The arena, like where you actually do DPS from with the boss, we weren't doing a great job initially of calling out like his dash and his beams that he throws out. So we would take a death or two up there every round, which you can't do when you only have, 6 revives for 3. You basically have to play at like 95% perfection in order to beat Steph on contest mode, especially the final boss. And unfortunately, we were playing at 85 to 90% perfection. We just weren't quite there. But I really think that had we cleared that third encounter quicker, had we taken the time to talk about it, for whatever reason, we never thought to split up. We just always stayed and moved as one unit for hours. And that's kind of where we felt, because we were so exhausted when we got past it that we couldn't really do much else after that.
Well, whenever it comes to take down Crota in season 18, you all gonna have fun with that. I want to sit back and watch. So,
listen to him.
I mean, as you put 17 hours into something and only have 3 moments of happiness, clearing 3 encounters, it breaks you. I went Destiny Dark until last night, which was Wednesday night. I just didn't look at it, didn't fire up the PC. I had to just stay off Twitter because there's so many people who just kept posting about the drama of the day 1 emblem, and then also people getting their emblems done. And I guess the next topic we should probably talk about is how they extended the context mode 24 hours, and then a lot of people was upset that their exclusive emblem might be meaning less because more people got the emblem because of that. I think after 24 hours there was less than 1,000 teams, and then it ended up being a lot more than that at the end. So you look at you think of that, it's 1,000 teams. That's 6,000 players, and it ended up being 32,000 total players that got that raid done. And what's led to me is that contest mode is way better than the master mode of the raid.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think
if you take it like one encounter at a time, you like do contest, you'd be like, all right, guys, we're gonna do 1 encounter, beat it, and then stop and do take it on at the end of the week, you know, and do that, then you can really go to town on it and not be absolutely walloped. It'd be a lot more fun. But yeah, it's way better than Master.
Now, like for 24-hour emblem, I'm totally fine with those people in the future. That's first 24 hours. That's the way you get that special emblem, right? And then usually there's like just a free emblem, but just for completing the raid regularly. Why do we need that? Make that beating the contest mode at any other time later on. So to me, you still just have the two emblems. You beat it within 24 hours, which is the awesome one, or you eventually beat it in contest mode.
I don't know, man. My thing is whenever I'm doing an LFG, they gotta have the emblem on because I'm going to check.
Wow. I mean, like Vault of Glass had 3, right? It had the day one, the regular, and the carries.
Yeah.
We know they can make 3 emblems for a raid. If they did like a everybody gets this one for doing
Vault
it.
had more than that.
Day one, and then just a contest mode clear. That would be fine. Like I'm fine.
Last Wish. Last Wish had more than that. It had one for beating all the challenges.
Yeah.
It had like one that came randomly out of the chest, I want to say, and then it had a 24-hour and a normal.
Yeah. See, they can do it. They could do a 24 and a contest.
One of the things that Bungie does, I don't know why, they like just hand out emblems like for free. Like, hey, here's a code to go download, right? Like I think going into Witchcoin, there was like a spreadsheet of like 15 to 20 free emblems that all of a sudden just became available, right? Why are we just giving emblems away for free when we can just have different ways to earn them in game? Because whenever an emblem is free, it becomes worthless. And like whatever time put into creating it is not valued. Even if it's behind, like just hitting the random chest in the raid, in the secret chest. Just by hitting it, you get the emblem. I mean, that's something that's just way better than just like, hey, here's a code, go download.
So the only emblems I use are the ones that I had to spend money to get. Like whether that be like for a fundraiser, or I bought something out of the store, and it came like that season or whatever.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't use any of the other ones, or the ones you got to buy like a pin, and it comes with the pin, because those are more rare. Now, if I had a 24-hour emblem, which we got gypped out of in Vault, in my opinion, then that would have been, I would be rocking that. So to me, it's like the 24-hour ones are the most rare, or like the most exclusive. Mm-hmm. And then after that, like I don't really care about doing like the dungeon solo. I know you guys like those, but after that, I want something that people haven't seen, which a lot of times is tied behind spending money on stuff.
So how would y'all feel if they did away with the master mode whenever that comes out? You know, probably more than a month now, 5-6 weeks, and it just goes back to contest mode as a toggleable thing, and then you go in there and you do the challenges, whatever you got to do to get the death weapons. Like that way, right now, because I'm looking at this game, I was like, all right, I need to go grind bounties and do whatever to get plus 21 on an artifact to make the master mode really easy.
Which is what, like season pass 200
something, yeah.
240, I think we last saw. I mean, yeah, like because contest mode drops you, even if it's like a contest light, which is you're always capped 10 under. Like, because doing challenges during contest would be rough, man. Like, I don't know how many teams cleared VOG contest with the challenges. I'd have to look that one up, but I know it was small. I know it was very small. And if the challenges are anything like Garden, which the last challenge is just absolutely ridiculous in my eyes for Garden of Salvation, then that's going to be really hard in contest. But yeah, now it's just like a grind game. It's just grind game to get to plus 21. Because in that time you're gonna hit pinnacle cap. So yeah, now it's just a game of doing that. Because otherwise we would already be set for contest and they could just release it. contest plus
And
challenges.
that's the main reason we'll never see contest mode like that, is because right now, like, imagine if Grandmasters were contest, like Grandmaster and Nightfalls were contest mode instead of having to get plus 25 over the hard cap. You know, if you were just always 25 under, like once you hit 1550 or whatever.
Mhm.
So that's why, because it'll drop. I mean, realistically, like I have played so much the past 2.5 weeks. I'm at like season pass like 115 or something, which I know is nothing compared to a lot of people. But if it wasn't for the needing to finish up my pinnacles and reach the pinnacle cap and get ready for all that for Grandmasters, I could see myself taking a week off, maybe 2. But I can't afford to do that and still get to where I need to be in time. And I think that is why we'll never see contest mode like that.
Okay. All right. There's probably nothing else on the raid I'm really wanting to touch about besides maybe in the future we'd probably have to discuss the red weapons, how they drop, and how getting 5 of those in order to start crafting is probably slightly too high, in my opinion. But we do have trials returning tomorrow. It's dropping at reset, and all 6 weapons will have the new origin traits of Alacrity and One Quiet Moment, along with the returning of the Summoner and the new Scout Rifle, Aisha's Embrace, 260 RPM Rapid Fire Scout, which I think for the most part is probably most people's favorite kind of Scout Rifle because it automatically comes with full auto, and you don't have to waste your mod slot on that. DMG did confirm on Twitter that the Flawless Pool is coming back on reset on Sundays. So, if there's a weekend that you ever want to go try to go flawless, it is the first weekend of the season. And especially if that Scout Rifle is the weapon in the Lighthouse, a lot of people will be in there trying to get the debt version of that. So, to me, I'm not super excited about trying to jump into this weekend. There's still more PvE things I'd rather be doing and leveling than going in the trials and being miserable, because I was miserable last weekend and I don't want to be miserable 2 weekends in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, I had some trials engrams left over from last season. I think I had like 20 split between my 3 characters. And I cashed in enough to get like 1 roll of the Aisha's Embrace, and then the rest of them I spent on re-rolls of Summoner from trying to get that the God roll of it, the PvE God roll. I couldn't care much about the PvP auto rifle God roll, and I got close on a couple, but nothing exactly what I wanted. So, probably I don't know what it would take to get me into trials. Maybe like if I won like a raffle from Grenade or Jake or something, that would probably be the only thing to get me in there this weekend, I think.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the solo weekends because I think it is as chill as competitive Destiny PvP can possibly be in solos, because I think for the most part, most people go in those solos like, hey, I get my extra XP, I'm getting my engrams so I can go focus at Saint. Right? Yeah, you're not getting a depth weapon unless you're going flawless, but I'll take the 5% less good weapon and not have to deal with trying to sweat it out.
Yeah, you can even play with other people, like play in the flawless and just like run in Discord with a couple of other people and just hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's that chill of a weekend. You can, like, all 3 of us could play on the solo and just sit and chat and talk about stuff. Mm-hmm. And be like, have no problem. It's yeah, like Jared said, that's the only time I really try to go in there is the solo day, because I'm like, yeah, you're not trying to go flawless on the solo. You're just playing. You're just playing to play, and that's it. That's the only time the trials is a fun time for me, is when most people are like, I'm not gonna win, so I'm just gonna be in here and just have a good time, get some engrams.
All right, next thing that's going to happen in Destiny is on Tuesday reset. Iron Banner is back, and that's another PvP experience that people actually look forward to playing for one main reason, and that's loot. And usually there is 4 pinnacle drops plus 2s that you can get that week per character, and along with that, they're also bringing in 2 new weapons. Frontier's Cry is the 180 RPM hand cannon, and then there's a sword called Razor's Edge. So they did remove a bunch of weapons from Iron Banner, so all the weapons that they have in the pool now will have the new origin trait, which is called Skulking Wolf, and that's whenever there's the hunt is on, you don't appear on radar, and like some other cool stuff. You kind of basically some radar manipulation whenever the hunt's going on, so it just gives you even that more of a bonus. But however, I don't know who's using a 180 RPM hand cannon anymore. So
Nope. Must
and
not gonna be able to do it.
Yep. And then
Nope.
This ain't the sword to be using the PvP either. So maybe some of those other weapons you'll get in a good. Maybe you get a good Reeswalker with a new origin trait to run around with. Also, hotfix.
I got both of those weapons and trials bounties I had left over, and they're nothing. Like you said, it's a 180. I'm like, don't really care about this. It was a bad roll, and I got like Assassin's Blade and something else on the sword, and I was like, there's so many swords that are good. Like, I'm never gonna use this. So
The best thing
pretty
about the
uneventful.
sword is kind of looks like a lightsaber.
Yeah.
That's the closest we're ever going to get to it probably in game.
Yeah, I thought it looked more like a Power Rangers weapon.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yeah.
Next thing we had a hotfix. There's a bunch of stuff that went on in the hotfix. I'm gonna hit you the highlights that stuck out to me. Bad luck protection is added to weapon drops and deep sight mods inside of Wellspring. Very much needed. I still have not completed those weapon frames. Whatever I gotta do to get those exotic glaives that are completely worthless and probably not even worth your time and materials to get in the first place. But I still have to get them and cross them off the list. Glaive mods will now drop from World Engrams or can be purchased from 801. I actually had one drop today from turning in some engrams. And this one's big. Tracking rockets got their tracking nerfed against players in PvP and Gambit. So this is all rockets, all exotic rockets, all legendary and everything. So, whenever you somebody invades in Gambit, you just know you're hearing that Wolfpack round coming at you from Galahorn or Isis Tomorrow's launching up, or every now and then somebody's still running Truth. It's probably still going to be the same, but maybe the tracking's just slightly worse.
not right now.
Yeah.
Can I have 20 seconds to talk about Gambit? I know I talked about it for 2 hours a week or two ago.
It's fine.
So
I got a timer.
So right now they allegedly fixed like the PvP damage in Gambit to where it was doing incorrect damage. But what they have done is they have swapped and given PvE damage numbers whenever you're going in as PvP. So Ariana's Vow is a one-shot body. DMT is a 2-shot anywhere, and Hawkmoon is a one-time paracausal is an automatic death whenever you're invading. So you might want to stay out of the Gambit playlist until that another hotfix comes along. Time.
Well, there is double nightfall.
47 seconds.
There's double nightfall rewards going on this week, so I would definitely rather spend my time doing a couple nightfalls than going into the game.
Yeah, and it's the new one too.
Yeah.
That's one of the new ones.
Apparently, you can get the 100K.
Have you guys hopped in there?
Nah, not yet.
Oh yeah, there's lots of screebs and stuff. So
Yeah.
and Thrall. So that would make sense. You could probably get the 100K on the hero, the one
Yeah.
right below Legend, right?
Yep.
That's
matchmaking.
pretty good.
I've heard
I
that.
haven't even tried it.
I've heard that swamp section with the invisible screebs and stuff is going to be a nightmare for the GMs. That's what I was reading.
Yeah, I was saying that immediately. Like it's one guy's gonna have to go invisible and run, or like make everybody invisible and just keep going.
chain
Omnioculus.
that Ursas,
Yeah.
and just power through everything.
When you're on the boat and you have to sit there and like 100 thrall go and drop on your head, just
And-
Ursa.
Yeah. And there's even that section right before it with the double shriekers and the witches just chilling.
All right, next,
Oof.
the Achilles SMG and the Imperial Needle no longer deal the increased damage to red bars. So it's cool while it lasted, but they have now been corrected to be normal legendary weapons. Wardcliff damage has been restored to its corrective in slot damage. It was doing like stupid amounts of damage to bosses, and they have fixed that. Grand Overture ability to generate more than intended ammo when switching heavy weapons and reserves has been up to 40 from 20. So I guess if you use on a Titan with Actium Warwig and this exotic machine gun, you charged up the rounds, you could switch to any other heavy and like have max ammo, even though you didn't have max ammo or whatever. So they fixed that. But they did give you some more in reserves, which this weapon I have used very little of. I was kind of waiting to get like the activity part of the catalyst done, and then like go kill a bunch of Cabal with it.
I'm at 193 out of 200
Yeah.
on that part. So getting close.
This next thing, they fixed the issue of Void Weakening Grenade overriding Divinity's buff. So it's like it's a 15% difference. But now Divinity will stack over. I mean, it won't stack. It will be the correct debuff that the boss takes. And then they reduced the melee charge rate from Gravitation Forfeit while you're invisible in PvP and Gambit. There's a lot of Invis Hunter stuff going on, and with that helmet, you stay invis longer and get that melee back to go invisible again. I understand why they're hitting it in regular Crucible. I think they probably could have left it in Gambit and it would have been fine in there, but for some reason, they're treating the Gambit sandbox as in more of a PvP environment than a PvE. When it comes to ability cooldowns and like Frosty stacking, like Frosty's used to stack with a lot of stuff, like a recharge rate, and they hit it hard in PvP, and also it's the same thing. It's get hit hard in Gambit doing the same thing. So they're trying to make Gambit balanced. And I think they have a long, hard road ahead of them to try to achieve that.
Yep, there's just too many options. I mean, what would like the factorial be of how many loadouts you could possibly have? Just counting weapons, not counting like exotic armors on top of it. I mean, it's what billions of combinations they would have to consider. So I mean, it's an impossible task.
If they just ban exotics out of Gambit, it will be fine. But they will never do it. That takes away so much cheese.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be a start. It'd absolutely be a start. But it's just never going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. The last thing they hit in the TWAB here is a free emblem. And this is actually probably a free emblem that I would actually get behind. And it's in a way to support Ukraine and the invasion of Russia that has going on with them right now. And the emblem code is JVGVNTGGG. So if you want to support Ukrainian game, and also the first 48 hours of the recent Game to Give charity went to the humanitarian efforts, which also led to helping out Ukraine. And then there was some other stuff that the Game to Give also benefited, that also does go forth to helping just humanity in general. And that is it from Hippie this week. So she hit all the high points, stuff that's been going on this past week, and what we have going on this next week in Destiny. And, over this next week, we got basically 4 weapons to look out for that have changed a little bit. So here in Weapons Breakdown, we're going to tell you about the 2 Trials weapons and the 2 new Iron Banner weapons. So the first weapon we're going to talk about is Frontier's Cry, the 180 RPM solar hand cannon. When I think of 180 RPM solar hand cannon, a lot of people think back to Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten, and how amazing they was as whenever they was 180 RPM starting out in the game, and how they've been nerfed all the way down to 140 for a good reason. So I think in PvP, if you're using a 180, you always want to try to go back to that feeling of getting a 3-tap with those. And to me, that is, you're looking at a kill clip in that last column. So if I'm building out this hand cannon, which you can't craft, but this is the wall. Hammer first, accurized, tunnel vision, and kill clip. I think that's kind of like you get a kill, and then you proc that kill clip. So you get like 3.5 seconds, 4.5 seconds of being able to get that 3-tap. And then for PvE, if you need a solar hand cannon, I think I got like a couple, like Ancient Gospels or the Trials hand cannon they took away. The hammer.
Igneous hammer.
Yep. I'll probably use those instead of this, but if you're a fan of 180s, Corkscrew, Tac Mag, Stats for All, and then One for All. There's a few weapons that have that synergy now this season. And I think this weapon actually would benefit a lot from the extra stability and handling and reload speed from the Stats for All. And then again at the One for All when you proc it, because you're also procking it at the same time. Stats for All, you get that 35% and additional range on the weapon damage.
The next weapon here, we got Razor's Edge, Void Vortex, Frame Sword. So think spin to win. Like we kind of alluded to earlier, this is not the frame you're going to want to use for PvP. So PvE roll, always Jagged Edge, Swordmaster's Guard, and then we got Wellspring and Chain Reaction as the other two here. Chain Reaction's interesting because you can, clear out a lot of ads real quick, and where it's Void, that should play pretty well with the seasonal mods and stuff this season. So it could be interesting. It's going to be interesting for like 2 or 3 more months, and then it'll just sit in your vault realistically after that, I would imagine.
If you wasn't around for Fall Guillotine and didn't have one of those to drop yet, I think it's in the Whirlpool now, but this is your other option. All right, and the next one is Aisha's Embraces Avoid Rapid Fire Frame Scout Rifle. That's 260 RPM. This weapon's recoil direction is 55, which is, it ends in a 5, but that's still not the greatest. So I'm tacking on Airhead Brake no matter what if I have the option on this gun. And then for PvE, I'm going high caliber rounds, triple tap Vorpal. I don't know what Bungie decided to do, but it seems like they put high caliber on every option almost for most of these weapons this season, which just makes me very happy because it stuns the crap out of stuff in PvE like very easily. Whenever stuff like usually will take a while to stun, and then whenever Iron's turned on, I don't think you can ever get a stun, but it seems like you actually have somewhat of a chance with high cal. And then PvP, you Airhead Break again, high cal, and then I chose Perpetual Motion for that third column. I feel like I can get that proc very easily in PvP, just moving around. And then multi-kill clip. Get that one clip, and then you can get an easy 4-tap.
That triple tap Vorpal would probably be, and where it's a Void this season. Once again, it plays with those seasonal mods real well. Plus, we got the Scouts are anti-barrier this season. So if you could land that triple tap Vorpal, that would actually probably be pretty sick. I feel like this season.
It also has a unique combination where you can get triple tap and 4 times the charm. So you could just continuously fire the weapon, but you don't get any extra damage anywhere, but you don't have to reload. I feel that's a very...
Well, Vorpal on that would be... Well, it would be 15, right?
No,
Because it's Void.
No, it's 20.
No, it'd be 20 because it's a primary.
It's a white, primary weapon. So 20% damage on that, man. That's nothing to sneeze at. It'll probably still take like 17 rounds to kill something in a GM Nightfall with it.
Yeah.
But at least you'll be able to shoot him really fast, and you only have to hold the button down. So.
And Chad, the Summoner has made its return.
Oh baby, everybody loves a summoner. Everybody gets a good one except Chad. We'll see. See if I can get one this time. But it's a solar 600 RPM. Solars are always great. It's nice to have, and my favorite PvE loadout is still here, raring to go because they're two good mods. But for PvE, we're looking Arrowhead, High Caliber. Like Jared said, High Caliber is just great, and especially on a gun that really pumps out bullets, it's excellent. And then Overflow Rampage. I mean, come on, like Auto Rifle Overflow Rampage is just chef's kiss. Overflow at all. I mean, as we've seen on Crate, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a future podcast because it's a world drop, that those magazines can get obnoxiously large, and it's great. And then for PvP, we're looking at Moving Target and Multi-Kill Clip. Moving Targets, again, easy to proc in PvP. And that if you get that multi-kill clip, that thing's pumping out damage. It's only gonna help out. And if you really like auto rifles and PvP, it's definitely a fun one, that's for sure.
I would like to give one honorable mention instead of Rampage. I hope I get one with Overflow Golden Tricorn in that slot just to try out. So who knows? Probably. I mean, I guess if you play enough and get enough engrams, you can focus and throw at it over and over. So hopefully you can get it in the first 10 or 15 anyway.
Yeah. All right, that is it for weapons breakdown, and it's time to move on to everybody's favorite segment, Lore with Chad. And Chad, what you got in store with this week?
Well, this week I was talking to the boys, and I'm taking a little bit of a note here of something I was already thinking of, and seeing a very prominent lore YouTuber is doing something kind of similar. Just kind of wanted to stay away from any kind of raid stuff for this week, and get really into it next week. There's a lot to dig into, but because of that extended contest, not a lot of people got to play this last weekend. And I know there's lots of gamers out there that can't really play during the week, and getting a raid team together on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night is rough if you don't already have a squad. So I'm gonna stay away from that from this week. We'll dig right into it next week. But I want to talk about the Altars of Reflection, the book that's basically just notes from the Hidden. We know the Altars of Reflection. That's the place that Savathun sends us to help her regain her own memories so that she can become Savathun again. And so after we go through our whole mission and stuff, Ikora sends a couple of people in there to research it, make notes, do a bunch of stuff to really get the lay of the land in there and figure out what's going on. Because their main things they want to figure out is if we've been deceived or not. And the easiest way to do that is send people in there and watch the memories. And there's lots of experiments you can do in there. We got to figure out if you can put other items besides what Savathun's picked onto the altar and see if you can see memories. See if it is memories that are being played, if you can. And just see if there's some kind of corruption that happens while you spend some time in there. And obviously the best way to do that is to send some hidden in there that can be trusted. So she does that. So the person that she sends in there is Lynn357. Obviously the subject being the Altars Reflection. First notice, she says, regarding the power known as Deep Sight and its use within Savathun's throne world, some Guardians have already used this power to access secret pockets of space. Hidden agents have dubbed them the Altars of Reflection for now. There, the invocation of Deep Sight in concert with significant objects has enabled us to view memories belonging to number 7282 Savathun. 2. Access to this power requires spending time with the relic, and subsequently in one of the pyramids. Long-term exposure to darkness in this manner carries inherent risk, and the process is non-trivial. However, in the interest of learning everything possible about this space and the relevant VIP, certain chances must be taken. Considering the sensitive nature of the topic, reports should be directed subject to the attention of ICO 006 Ikora only. So far, it is estimated that Guardians have been able to view memories that 7282 wants. This supposition is upheld by 7282 Savathun's specific and personal input on the memories in question. But why these memories? This remains a worthwhile question to answer in order to understand Savathun's larger goal. Hidden Agent Lynn357 was dispatched in full understanding of requisite risk to determine the following as possible: limits and potential of physical space, applicability of other items and memories, span of Savathun's attention to the mentioned spaces, possibility for use of deep sight outside of altar parameters, and possibility for use of altar parameters with other applications. Lin 357 is also to assess potential danger in continuing and encouraging Guardian access to use altar spaces. Next message is from Lin. I've arrived on site and made my way into the altar space. It doesn't appear to have changed much at all from earlier provided telemetry. As predicted, there were barriers to access. Several of the Lucent Brood obstructed my passage and were subsequently dispatched without much trouble. Additionally, the same complication as previously reported blocked the way. Hive runes. Parsing their nature and repetition of specific patterns was required to gain full access to the altar. On the topic of the presented resistance, there were significantly fewer Hive defenders than could be mustered, given intelligence on available forces. Based on the token nature of this resistance, the fact that Savathun surely knows that Guardians have been here, it can be assumed that the defense is not a sincere attempt to keep us out. Historical precedent exists for setting a guard on a location or item to make it appear more attractive. Precedent also exists for opening the way for Guardians to participate in the Hive sword logic. I do not yet have reason to believe that this is taking place here, especially given the severance of Savathun's connection to the worm gods that have otherwise led her species, but it does not pay to be incautious around the Hive. Once appropriate precautions were taken against any further incursions, I deployed sensors to record the data as possible, focusing on the central altar and its exterior boundaries. Simultaneously, it was necessary to assess the available space for myself. Impressions follow. It is more appealing than we usually associate with the Hive, only the structures bear vague resemblance to those on Luna. The colors are pleasing and far removed from scarlet and rot, and the area lacks jagged edges or significant quantities of bone. Structurally, it is a space clearly built to highlight the central area, and indeed it targets one of the altar itself. All told, in architecture alone, the creator demonstrates a clear evolution, presumably mirroring her own. On the topic of the structure, although the available space does not appear to have walls, there is a definite boundary. Matter grows foggy, and there's a strong sense of pushback when moving away from the center. Initially, I believed this to be a function of the architecture, but significant willpower is required to force myself to look further into testing the concept. That alone suggests it should be investigated more. Conscious of the bias in doing so, I am marking it for later experimentation, as it would involve straying from the central objective. Further data forthcoming. Another note later on, and it says, with the perimeter secured and all sensors ready for analysis, there is no immediate further obstacle to the initial experiments with DeepSight. On Vanguard authorization, I've borrowed one of the existing artifacts that has been used to produce and view 7282's memories. A shard of the crystal that Savathun was recently encased in. In summary, following the known and established process, there's no deviation from what was previously reported. The memory of Savathun's death and subsequent acquisition of light played back as expected, identical in every beat. Subsequent repetitions of the same process revealed additional words. Perhaps foolishly, I replied to portions of her dialogue that seemed to request a response. However, there was no explicit answer. I believe it is safe to conclude that there is no awareness of hers here, and what is heard is likely a recorded coded to the specific memory and or object. Her use of this method to influence and sow doubt is not unexpected. As a test, I used the crystal item to invoke DeepSight in the same fashion I used previously, this time with intent to view something different. There are plentiful records of Savathun's interaction with Vanguard and Reef personnel around the larger crystal piece that was retrieved from. However, none of these were viewable. The same item only allowed viewing of the same memory, suggesting a permanent association. I have some additional analysis planned to confirm this. The next, the logical steps in analysis involve changing a variable in the known functional equation. I've taken the liberty of borrowing some items from others to conduct some tests. First test, introduction of reasonably generic items. As expected, a chunk of glimmer did nothing. A broken off piece from the grip of a new sidearm purchased specifically for this purpose? Nothing. For a moment there was a shadow, something that vaguely resembled a gunsmith at work or in conversation, but no memory replay, as it seems to be the item known to produce memories. Second test, I had an acquaintance borrow a trinket from a friend of theirs, whom I have not met. The item is a medallion smaller than my palm with old, rubbed, faint engravings. Following the introduction of this item, the altar, a visible memory, resulted, playing out in third person, much like the other memories. I recorded details of this memory for reference and confirmation of accuracy. Once a recording had been made and committed, I accessed the file provided by the owner of the item. This file included summaries of what he thought were the most likely memories to be associated with the item. As you can see, details of what I observed matched one of those summaries. Owner's ghost to provide additional context if necessary, either on my return or when another hidden agent reaches out. Would like to recommend that another agent repeats the same test and see if they can view something different. While we had no reason to doubt the previously revealed memories, all this adds an additional layer of certainty. That which we can ascertain via the altars of truth full and clear. The only remaining doubts are regarding why and which memories Savathun is known to be cunning, but has ultimately been truthful in previous dealings with the Vanguard. Regrettably, these things are not mutually exclusive. I had additional tests planned for the analysis of the altars involving personal items and memory, but I am reconsidering the wisdom in doing so, as well as the necessity. Beyond confirming that the memories produced are repeatable, true, and personal, do we need to know more? I will be moving on to the substance of the world next. So they've done tests to see if there's additional memories attached to Savathun's items, and she has picked and bound specific memories to each of those 3 items. Now, she does have additional words, like if you go into the altars of reflection, each individual altar has 4 different voice bites that you can get. So there's a total of 12, 3 or 4 per altar. And then the test is done seeing that we can actually use something with a significant memory of the past from a being, and that actually brings something up too. Problem is, since these are memories, and we know that the memory is tied to the item, is Savathun able to corrupt the data that's tied to the object? And if she's not able to, that means everything we saw is the truth. But if she is, that means that it's edited. But we have no way to know if that's possible. But so far we know that we can put other objects on there and see other things. But these hidden are pulling experiments in there, and I'm excited to see if there's what's coming up next on it. But it's crazy. They're sending this one person in there, even though you don't know what's going to happen.
Are these Savathun's Horcruxes?
You're right. Yeah, we just got to destroy them.
Yep. I was just wondering if we could put like items onto the Altar of Reflection and pull memories out of them. Like if we could put Ace of Spades on there, what would happen?
Yeah, I know, right? Like would it show like Cade doing something crazy with it or whatever?
Yeah.
What if you put the Ascendant Raisins on there? Or the celery sticks? There's but there's lots of questions with items in there. Like the it's got to be a very specific item that has a bunch of memories, not like a weird item. It's like you can't use the weird glimmer crystals from like the Goa dungeon because they're just weird. They don't have specific memories. But yeah, like Ace of Spades would be neat. Some of the other exotic, like what if you put Whisper of the Worm on there? He's got a lot of memories.
Yeah.
There's got to be something popping up from there.
Well, maybe like the Rasputin engram, and we can go back to like see the Golden Age and then watch us fall. Yeah. All right, it's time for the mailbag.
Oh boy! All right, first question. I think we already talked about this, but we'll ask this question again. What did you learn from this day 1 attempt, and what will you take with you to the next attempt? I'll say first that, like we said earlier, definitely every 8 to 10 tries, stop and just talk with the group. It'll give your mind a little bit of time to cool down, but it'll just help you kind of pull together everybody's viewpoint, and if something isn't working, stop doing it and try something else, and then just keep on building on the lock instead of trying to click that first pin over and over again and just not getting it. Just move on and try to see if you can get something else, and just keep trying. But trying new things versus trying the same thing over and over and over again, unless like it's full on like the correct answer, you just are at a damage check and you just can't do the damage. But it's just take a minute to recollect everybody's thoughts and figure it out.
I think I'm going to write like a day one raid manifesto and publish it. And whenever I do that, I will I'll put a link of it on our Twitter or something.
I just learned that it's not for me, and I'll be spending my time watching instead of trying to participate in that.
You can watch my stream and be my ghost over my shoulder.
Yeah.
Just I'll get a message. Hey Chad, what about this? I'll be like, son of a bitch, Jared's right.
I try to be the Tifu.
But
But
before
yeah.
saying it's right, I'll say, hey Ryan, what about this? That way I get his opinion first, because then I know if I have to disagree with Jared or not.
Yeah, right. You guys don't ever disagree with each other. Question 2. Have any of you acquired the exotic glaive? And if so, is it worth the grind? I
Yes.
have not. I have not because I cannot get 2 more Tarnations. So once I get my Tarnations, I'll be able to get that exotic glaive.
See, all my luck went to getting those red border weapons, and that's it. I've played so many raids now since then, and I've only gotten 2 weapons to drop total the entire time. But like in the altars or in Wellspring, right? I haven't even seen the sniper yet. Like I haven't seen it at all. Like it hasn't even dropped. And I've played on the sniper day. I'm like, ooh, maybe I can get the sniper. No, no. And I think I've seen 1 bow. 1. But luckily enough, I did get the quest ones done, and I got them handled. Got the glaive, and I can say it's definitely not worth it, but it's fun. I got the Titan one, so the little bubble's kind of neat. But it's like it could be so much better. Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather just use Lubres, like or the regular glaive, and have an exotic. But the exotic glaive is like, it's okay, it's neat, but like you have to charge it. You have to charge for the shield. You have to charge it, and getting kills with the bullet is what counts the most. So I'm like shooting things with it, and it's like taking me 2 magazines to get enough kills to get it, and then I drop the bubble real quick, and then I'm like, well, now what? I can't shoot out of it. I'm not getting a damage buff for dipping in and out of it. It's literally just oh no, let me protect you, and I gotta like switch the fire rate over, like do the hold, the reload, and then shoot it over at an ally. Hope I hit him and he's not moving, and save his life, and that's about it. If I'm not on comms. If I'm on comms, I'll be like, hey, bubble behind you. But neat.
Yes, so
I guess the Hunter one's the only one that seems decent. But like even
just
then,
use
like
a waveframe grenade launcher. You can do it every
exactly,
time.
yeah. I mean, I guess the healing for the Warlock one, but like again, just use the boots. Drop a rift, use the boots, and they'll just go everywhere.
Yeah, I think when Bungie introduced new stuff, they're very afraid to make it awesome. And I don't know if they're
Unless you have to pay for it, then they make it awesome.
You have to pay for glaives.
Yeah, you have to have Witch
Well,
Queen.
That's true.
I just think they was afraid to make it too good, and I don't ever see it being that great because it operates kind of in shotgun range and closer with like actual meleeing, and
Yeah.
for the most part, shotguns are rarely ever used. Like I don't remember ever using a shotgun in a Grandmaster, and then like very few raids they were ever used, and it's basically like that's because you're at power, and you don't get stomped halfway across the map in one shot. So, is it worth a grind? I'm eventually gonna do it, right? But we have a long time.
Yeah, it's not worth grinding it out, but if you do it along the way, great.
It's not higher on the priority list. Like there's still like pinnacles to do, the raid to do, seasonal activity, the other red weapon frame stuff to go grind out. It's all above chasing these exotic glaives right now. All right, question 3. Vox Obscura Heroic is kicking my butt. What's your strategy? haven't had time to get in there yet, but this is the
Ooh,
It's rough, dude.
it's rough, man. Like you're actually, it's gonna be difficult, and you're gonna enjoy that part.
okay.
What I can say is, we don't shout out YouTubers here, according to Ryan. So one of my favorite buddies, YouTube, Dairy Eternally, can't say his full name, but you can understand the name off of that. Has a little cheese that he put out that basically makes it so
Oh,
that
I did see the
tanks
cheese.
don't spawn in the
Yeah.
second room.
Yep.
So you just sit there, like no enemies. So you just sit there and blow up the turbines inside the pillars, and you just move on. And after doing, we already had a full night of raiding, and Ryan and I pulled a guy and went in there and tried like 3 or 4 times, and we got into the second area with the tank and just got absolutely walloped. And we're like, all right, we're too tired for this.
We're like
We're
tonight's
good.
not the night.
Yeah. We're like, yeah, no, it was like legit. We got into the zone and then just immediately died. So we're like, all right, not tonight. And then Dairy Eternal put out the the video. I'm like, Ryan, look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there like negative modifiers besides the power limit?
It's
There's
power
actually
limit, and
additional
I'm pretty sure the
champions.
time's shorter. There are a buttload of champions, man.
Yeah, I think there's double the champs. I don't think the time's shorter. It's just that since there's more champions, like it's
Mhm.
just the enemies are harder to get through.
I think the
Um,
tanks. I think the tanks have more accuracy.
Oh yeah, and it's 1580.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting hit hard.
And those drakes, man, they were just hitting dumb shots.
Oh dude, like one shot from the Thresher, one missile hit my tank and it immediately just started blowing up. I was like,
Wow.
no way, cuz it shoots 3.
Mhm.
And one of them hits me and all of a sudden the health just goes immediately away, and like you know how it like starts the blowing up animation? I'm like, this can't be real.
Yeah.
And then it blew up and I died. But yeah, I mean, run with a solid squad. Be ready for all the champions. It's unstoppable anti-barrier, so be ready to go with everything. And just be ready for a fight. It's gonna get you. Only good news is you only have to do it once for the catalyst.
So it's like it's Arbalist with a hand cannon with another linear future and heavy. Is that the play? Then?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we started to do on our last run, and it was working out pretty well. It's just the tanks.
Champions
you can't,
weren't
like,
the issue. It's the vehicle section, man.
Yeah,
That's
the
like-
tanks get you,
And you
and
know,
then the missiles and the lasers.
those tanks drive differently than any other thing in Destiny
Mm-hmm.
because it rotates, right? So
Yeah.
like that kind of messes with me. That's why I just stay out of it and let Chad deal with it.
Yep.
I know it's a lot easier whenever you're using 2 joysticks than
Yeah, always
It's on thrusters,
Load
so
up.
it can move in a full circle, kind of like a helicopter can just kind of move around without having to go straight. It's rough. It's bad.
always think I have to pay attention to where my headlights are on the tank because that's the direction
Yep.
on the W key.
that's
you're
what
going.
W. That's
Yeah.
what W goes. Yep.
All right, question 4. How hard is a raid non-contest mode? That's a question for you all.
I mean,
It's,
if you haven't done it and you don't know the symbols, hard.
Oh,
if you
that's a-
spent 17 hours in it
Mhm.
and you do know the symbols, not hard.
It's dummy easy. Like our first attempt non-contest mode, we went in with 5 people on the final boss and killed it our first try. Now, granted, we did have 12 hours before that in that arena, so there was like no mechanic that we didn't fully understand. But yeah, it's once you get the symbols and the mechanics down, and really every mechanic is based on shooting the correct symbols. I mean, if we're just being honest, super easy.
And the
Super
best
easy
part
raid.
is there are given Bungie names for each of the emblems.
Hmm.
So no longer are you going to a group and being like, what the heck is dragon breathing fire? What's 2 fish? Circle fish? Isn't that 2 fish? Like,
Yeah.
they have given names.
Yeah.
And there's lots of infographics out there with them. we obviously made our own calls because we didn't figure that out for day one. So we've spent like the last 2 runs we've spent using the correct calls. And it's an adapting phase for us because we are so used to being like circle instead of traveler. But for somebody starting out, like as a new squad, running with the correct calls, just having a second, like a screen up or your phone with the symbols on it and the names, will make things a lot easier. But it's literally you learn the symbol names. The mechanics are not super complicated, but are engaging enough. And like a first time squad could probably do it in 3 hours. Like a first time squad of good players, like learning it from guides, could probably do it in 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean the boss encounters will be the hardest part, but once you get those down, we're so strong damage wise. There's so many different loadouts and stuff you can use. If you are struggling on damage, make one person run divinity, because that really makes a huge difference in DPS if you're getting DPS checked. And if you need help getting divinity, find us on Twitter at Destiny CC Pod. We'll gladly help you acquire that weapon.
All right, question 5. What is your favorite weapon that you've used from the raid so far?
Why? That's so mean. That's such a mean question.
I haven't got one, so.
Well, I did get the glaive, so I guess I'm lucky there. And it's fun, but it's a glaive, so it's not super great. I didn't get a good roll on it, so it's still cool looking because it's the glaive the boss has. So I'm holding it like I am Rolk running around murdering Scorn for a little bit, and that was fun. And I got the grenade launcher. Again, not a good one, but I got one, and it's fun. I don't think we've ever had an arc wave frame grenade launcher besides Messenger, because I guess that counts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's fun. I like that grenade launcher is hilarious, and it's another truth teller because it can roll chain reaction. So a wave frame arc chain reach class that causes a chain lightning effect. And if there isn't, there's something that adds a grenade that does the thing.
Yeah.
So there's got to be if there isn't volatile lightning, I'm gonna be upset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely
So
something.
I was gonna say that grenade launcher, but you guys stole that. So I'll go that cataclysmic linear fusion. I don't have a great roll of it yet. I only have 2. The best one I have has that surplus and high impact reserves. So I think high impact reserves is the play on that. Especially, I'll be honest with you, I haven't even really looked at the rolls. But if you could get like 4th times or triple tap or something on that, and stay in that high impact reserve range, you could probably put out some pretty nutty damage with that thing, I would imagine.
Yeah, you can get fourth times high impact. You can get that exact roll.
Yep.
I think that was the last question, right?
Yep. That's it.
All right. So if you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services. If you're listening to us Friday morning, don't forget whenever you get home, you can turn us on YouTube and take a look at how beautiful we all are. Watch us on there. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Subscribe, like, listen, join the Discord, Bungie friend request, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to let these 2 guys sign off.
I'm looking forward to get back into the articles of reflection and all the extra stuff that you've unlocked during the raid. Like, I think it was pretty cool how you got back. You get to do basically the opening encounter of the raid. If you haven't done the raid yet, you get to go in solo as part of those missions and get some dialogue from Marisov. Looking forward to that.
There's a lot of lore that we're gonna really dig into starting next week, and it is a lot of really deep stuff that we're gonna be getting into. So if you haven't, definitely do the preservation mission. It's great. It's amazing. There's like 5 good snippets of lore in there from Rolk himself. So take the time. You'll get a 1400 second countdown timer at the end. Take your time to explore. Find all 5 of those, and just listen.